This is the Friday, December the 15th, 2023 edition of the Abel Marketing Facebook Live. And I have with me this morning Anna Gradie. Anna is my guest this week. Anna, how are you?
I'm great. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me, Ben.
Thank you for agreeing to be a guest. And what I wanted to do off the top is talk a little bit about your story. And what I've done is, people can see the Facebook Live, is what I've got shared in the background is your website. And so what I'd like you to do to start is to take us through a little bit about what's on the website, because I always do research, obviously, when I do these, so I can ask questions. But I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what's on the website, because you talk about things like your past and your journey. So why don't you start with that?
Sure. Did you want me to start with the past or the journey?
I think the past part is good, because I'd like to know how you got into coaching. And I've read your website, and then I read your piece about how things like hiking the Grouse Grind, what it does for you, which I thought was interesting, as someone who lives close to the Grouse Grind but never hikes it. But
nice. Yeah. So in 2010, I co-founded and scaled the edtech company RyCore.
okay,
I was the COO and head of HR. We sold administrative software to school districts across North America.
okay,
And that's where I first noticed the gender gap in the tech industry.
Okay.
Despite our goal of employing a diverse and inclusive development team, it was so hard to hire and retain female software developers.
Interesting. Okay.
So
I have some experience. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, that was an amazing experience growing the company, but I did see that gap in the tech industry.
Right. And so what's happening with the company today? Like, is it still around? Was it acquired by someone else? I hadn't heard of it, but I have familiarity with the software industry because I worked for a SaaS company. So
yeah, it's still around. I had my exit in 2020, and that's when I started my coaching business.
Okay, so you started that because of the pandemic, or just because you wanted to start a coaching business, or how did that work?
It actually all started when I got blindsided by a very painful divorce.
Oh,
and I'm sorry thank you. I hired a coach to help me pick up the pieces of my life. And that began a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. And
sorry, go ahead.
I always say coaching saved my life, both personally and professionally.
Well, that's what the website says, but I didn't know how much because I don't feel like I know you that well that I really want to ask you personal questions, or though if you have personal insights and stories to share, that's part of the value of doing something like this, right?
Yeah.
And so, thanks for sharing that little bit, because we can move down to your. I want to find the Grouse Grind picture while we talk, because as someone who lives in North Van but doesn't do it that often, but my thing is, I do a lot of cycling up and down Nancy Green Way to train for cycling races. So I do get to the Grouse Grind, but I just promptly turn around and go back down the hill. So I'm kind of doing the Grouse Grind already anyway, because I'm cycling the whole length of Capilano, right? Turns into Nancy Green Way. So it's kind of the same thing.
There.
Yeah. And I've tempted myself to try and ride up and then do it, but I was like, no, that's too much. But so yeah, talk a little bit more about the coaching and how it saved your life, because one of the articles I read was, what is your number one coaching tip? So talk a little bit about how coaching saved your life. And I want to talk about this article about the coaching tip, because I had a chance to read it and I really enjoyed reading it.
Thank you. Yeah. By working with a coach, I uncovered my core values and purpose in life. And in that coaching experience, I made the tough decision to take an exit from the software company I'd built, to take some time off to heal and to pursue other opportunities. And on an impulse, I got certified in emotional intelligence coaching. And that started my whole career in coaching.
Okay. So I know a little bit about emotional intelligence, but do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Emotional intelligence is the key to leadership. It's your ability to understand your own emotions, the emotions of others, your ability to balance empathy and assertiveness for more effective communication, your ability to manage stress, make decisions, and solve personal problems. And it's also that reactivity, your ability to pause versus reacting to triggers.
Right. Right. I think that's something I need to learn. So
We
there's another good
all
tip.
grow in that area.
Right.
And I
Right.
would
And
say
so, yeah, go ahead.
that emotional intelligence can be developed and grown over time, unlike our IQ, which is fixed at about age 17.
I think that's definitely true, but I think we learn from life experience. But how is the emotional intelligence piece different if you don't mind elaborating on that? Because we all learn from experiences, and I feel like a lot of times in work and business, I've learned from painful experiences, both good and bad, growth experiences. Um, but when do you and how do you train yourself? I don't want to say not to learn from the painful experiences, but maybe to change how you look at them.
Yeah. Well, it's that kind of emotional resilience, right? And being able to frame all the setbacks in our life as a gift or opportunity. It's kind of a mindset shift.
Right.
And it starts out with self awareness, like getting an emotional intelligence assessment, for example. That's the work that I do. And then you can see your scores on all 15 EQ competencies. And then you can create
Right.
an action plan on how you can boost up the lower areas. And they can all be improved with practice. And like you mentioned, as you go through different challenges in your life and evolve and grow.
Right. Right. And so you had the challenges that you mentioned, coaching, um, support of your coach, and now where are you at? Because you talk about, I'm just looking through the website, your vision for women in tech. You're trying to balance it all.
Yeah.
And so let's help you drive some leads or traffic to your website. So people book because I am a marketer. Um, Booking a free consultation. So how do people get there? Do they just meet you in person? Do they see you on social media? How does that
No.
work? Because
So it would, sorry?
how does it work? Because obviously, from a marketing perspective, I always talk about conversions, but I mean, this is something that you look at the sort of science of marketing and the conversion, but then you're also dealing with something which in a lot of ways, I don't know if it's scientific if we're talking about emotional intelligence. Because one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, how do clients find out about you? Like when working with a new client, how do you get started with them?
Yeah. So they find out about me through social media, through referrals. I do a lot of speaking engagements and workshops.
Right.
And then they typically would book a one on one confidence booster session with me.
I saw that.
I'm a,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a confidence coach for women in STEM and tech
Okay.
primarily. So
So
they would
STEM
book
is
the
what? Sorry. So STEM is what?
science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay.
So
Okay.
typically male dominated industries.
Right.
So
Okay.
they would book the one-on-one session with me. And in that session, we would talk about a challenge they're facing and then go through an assessment that will
Right.
rate them on 7 areas scientifically linked to confidence. And that gives them lots of clarity and
Interesting.
insights and how they can move forward to boost their confidence and have the life that they want.
Right. Right. Okay. So let's keep on going here because I have a few more things. So what are you looking for then? I've got some more traditional kind of scripted questions written down. What are you looking for to indicate that the client is a fit for you?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
how do they go
somebody
through that process?
Yeah, it's somebody that wants to advance in their career and set more
Right.
boundaries at work and at home. Typically, women in tech, people with high empathy who struggle to be assertive and stand up for themselves, people pleasers who always put themselves last,
Right.
introverts like me who struggle with public speaking, and
Interesting.
mothers who are kind of in survival mode, struggling to balance it all and finally prioritize themselves.
Right. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the public speaking thing because we all have that fear. And in university, I joined Toastmasters for 2.5 years. And so that really helped a lot for me with my confidence at the time I was doing my Bachelor of Arts at Simon Fraser. And I was looking for, I think at the time, working opportunities in co-op, but looking for kind of personal and professional development. And so I picked up Toastmasters myself, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it really helped me with my confidence at the time and with public speaking. So have you ever tried something like a Toastmasters group? Did you ever do Toastmasters?
I did. Toastmasters has absolutely changed my life. I
Right.
always had a fear of public speaking. I was a very shy little girl, kind of lived in my comfort zone, didn't want attention on me at all. And then a couple of years ago, I made the decision to finally tackle that fear and to
Awesome.
join Toastmasters, and it completely changed my life.
Right.
I was paired with an incredible mentor, and I learned a ton from being at the different meetings. It was virtual, and then I attended some in-person meetings as well. And now
Right.
I'm able to give speeches and do workshops. The little girl Anna never would have guessed that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting journey that I mean, there's so much more stuff we could talk about. And, I don't want to keep you for more than maybe, 15 to 20 minutes. But I really learned a lot about you delving into your background. And so I had these questions, and we've talked about a couple. Do you have an exciting project that you've done to date that really stands out? Like, is it with a company or is it with a person? Because with the insights that you've shared and the things that you've experienced, it must feel great to pass those things on to others.
Yeah, this work feeds my soul. It's what I was born to do. I absolutely
Right.
love it. The highlight of my career so far was probably being able to speak and do a workshop in the Silicon Valley in the summer.
Wow.
It was a 1-hour workshop on confidence in the tech hub of the world. That was so validating
Yeah,
for
no
my
kidding.
business and just to make that impact and to learn from all the amazing people in tech at the conference.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive. So what kind of stuff do you have going on in the next few weeks or months? Because two more things I want to share. I did see something that you're speaking at next week on December 20th. Can you elaborate a little more on that for us? And I'll put it up
Sure.
on the screen and share it, because I was looking at it last night. Let me see if I can find it. I may not be able to, but it's something to do with Google.
Yeah.
Or
It's a Google developers meetup
right,
at a software company downtown.
right.
And I'm giving a 30-minute speech on science-based strategies to boost your confidence.
Interesting. And is that focused then on, obviously, when it's at Google and it's a software company downtown? And I was never a software developer, but I do have IT experience, and so I worked with some software developers. But is it focused on women? Because it seems like it should be, and it seems like there would be a large contingent of people there like that.
Yeah. So the audience is all genders. So
Okay,
it's a gender neutral
right.
workshop.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us any more about it? Because
Sure. So
I
the
want to hear
three,
more about it, because I want to showcase some stuff that you're doing, right? So let me just pull it up here, because
thanks, Ben.
no problem. Okay, so I'm going to share it. Just give me a second, but go ahead and elaborate a little more while I do some magical screen sharing in the background here.
Yeah. So this is a speech I've given before. It's my 3-step science-based method for building confidence.
Right.
Step 1 is to develop your emotional intelligence. Step 2 is to reduce your negative self-talk. And step 3 is to learn to fail fast. And it gives examples from my work life, from my personal life. And there are key, actionable takeaways that everybody will get as a result of listening to the speech.
Okay. So Google Developer Groups Burnaby, mini conference in networking Nirvana. And it's an evening thing, so it's like a festive little social.
Yeah.
And we've got you doing your confidence with 3 science-based strategies, tricks and tips for job hunting in the digital age, which is always relevant.
Yes.
Goal setting and achieving public speaking for techies 0 to hero. Wow, that sounds pretty epic. Can you kind of elaborate a little more on that?
Sure. I'm really excited for the opportunity, and it's actually on my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday 5 days early. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very active in the tech community in
Of course you
Vancouver.
are. Of course you are.
And through my network, I was given this
Right.
opportunity, and I'm super excited about it.
Well, thank you for sharing all this information. I'd like to wrap it up there. You could stay behind once we're done. Thank you we have some viewers who tuned in. And like I said, I'll send you all the follow-up content and video in the next week, I would say, once I get it all together. But let's wrap it up there. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Ben, for having me.
Anytime.